Good morning, students. Welcome to the English session. Today, we shall deal with the lesson The Little Girl, written by Catherine Mansfield. The Little Girl is a story of a little girl, Kezia, who misunderstands her father's strictness and usually remains scared of him. Every morning before going to work, the father gives Kezia a casual kiss. In reply, she says, "Goodbye, father." But the little girl is unable to understand his love and affection. When her father leaves home for work, she feels a sense of relief. In the evening, when her father returns home, his loud voice makes Kezia frightened. She hears him ordering her mother and grandmother, "Bring me tea, newspapers, and slippers." Then Kezia's mother asks her to come down and remove her father's boots. As Kezia enters into the drawing room, her father looks at her over his spectacles. The way he looks at her terrifies her. He asks her, "Have you been a good girl today?" In fear, she stammers and replies, "I don't know, father." He tells her, "You don't know? If you stammer like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor." Father feels that something is wrong with Kezia. He tells his mother to teach Kezia to behave in a better manner, that Kezia may not appear sad all the time. Whenever Kezia thinks about her father, she feels that she is thinking about a giant. She visualizes her father as a giant, especially when he yawns. On Sunday afternoons, Kezia's grandmother sends her into the drawing room to spend time with her parents. When Kezia enters the drawing room, she finds her mother busy in reading and her father sleeping. Kezia feels a bit neglected. One day she remains indoors as she gets a cold. Her grandmother advises her, "Why don't you make a gift for your father's birthday next week?" She gives her a piece of yellow silk fabric to stitch a pincushion for him. Kezia stitches a beautiful pincushion, but she does not find anything for stuffing. Kezia stitches a beautiful pincushion, but she does not find anything for stuffing. As her grandmother is out in the garden, she goes to her mother's bedroom in search of some stuff. There she finds sheets of paper in which her father had written an important speech. She unknowingly tears them into pieces and stuffs it into the cushion and stitches it. When her father comes home and gets to know about his important papers, he punishes her by hitting the palms of her hands with a ruler for tearing up his speech. She often watches her neighbor, Mr. MacDonald, playing joyously with his 5 children in their lawn. She thinks Mr. MacDonald is a loving father to his children. Kezia wonders he might be a different sort of father. One day, her mother falls ill and is taken to hospital by her grandmother. Kezia is left alone at home under the care of their cook, Alice. As Kezia goes to bed, Alice removes his socks and warns her, "Do not scream and wake your father." At night, Kezia has a nightmare and she wakes up screaming. When she calls her grandmother for help, she finds her father standing by her bedside. She picks her up and takes her to his room. He tucks her up in his bed and soon falls asleep. She feels the beating of her father's loving heart and realizes that her poor big father is very loving and caring and has a generous heart. The theme of the story is the relationship between children and their parents, and the writer wants to tell us that children share a very important bond of love with their parents. The summary of the story. The Little Girl is the story of a little girl, Kezia, who misunderstood her father's strictness and usually remained scared of him. She kept a distance from him whenever he would be at home. She considered him to be as big as a giant. She would often get nervous and stutter while talking to him. She longed for his love and affection like her neighbor, Mr. MacDonald. Once, she was kept indoors as she was affected by cold. Her grandmother suggested that she make a gift for her father on his birthday. They decided that Kezia would make a pincushion for him. Kezia made a beautiful pincushion, but she accidentally made a mistake. She filled it with bits of paper that she got by tearing her father's important speech. She was punished for that. This incident made her away from her father. She would often look at the neighbors, the MacDonalds, playing joyously in their lawn. Mr. MacDonald was such a good father and played so lovingly with his children. She wondered he might be a different sort of father. Once her mother fell ill and was hospitalized. She was left alone at home under the care of the cook. At night, she had a nightmare and woke up screaming. She found her father standing by her bedside. He picked her up and took her to her room. He tucked her up in his bed and soon fell asleep. Kezia felt secure lying near her father. She realized that her father was not as big as a giant. She felt the beating of her father's loving large heart. Finally, she realized her father was very loving and had a generous heart. Thus, we have come to the end of the session. Thank you and have a nice day.